Hey everyone, it's Michael Kikle. I hope you're doing well today, and I have a video here to talk about a show that I grew up on that I loved so much back in the day when I was a child. It was way back in the day. I couldn't have been more than 6 or 7 when the show premiered. I didn't do the math, but who cares? 2001's Samurai Jack. Oh man, I remember the day this premiered on Cartoon Network. And I remember like the bumpers Cartoon Network would do between commercial breaks and stuff where they would show all the different famous cartoon characters like Ed, and Eddie and, just different characters that were so popular at the time. Powerpuff Girls, Johnny Bravo, Samurai Jack as well. Kind of just wandering around neighborhoods and arcades and buildings and stuff. So many good memories with this show, man. But like I said, I got to see it on premiere night. I remember they played it back to back, that first episode. And what's interesting about this show, Samurai Jack, is it was on for 4 seasons, and they had a 5th season finally come out 14 years after season 4 ended, with no real solid conclusion to the show. Season 5 came out on Adult Swim, which is the later hours of Cartoon Network. And it's a little bit more adult. They do some, a little bit more stuff with that I'll talk about. But I've always liked the show. I always thought it had so much going for it. Such a beloved show for so many reasons, obviously. But there were so many cool creative decisions about this show because it's made and created by Genndy Tartakovsky, I think I'm saying his name correctly, who I think most people love and don't even realize they love the majority of this man's creations. Powerpuff Girls, Dexter's Laboratory, the original Star Wars Clone Wars cartoon that I loved, man. Every one of this man's cartoons he used to create, I used to watch religiously. I don't really understand why he's not still creating cartoons with his own style and whatnot. If I remember correctly, I guess Clone Wars came out after this. Yeah. But I guess he kind of just did that and then kind of went in more a producer role or writing role, something like that. But anyway, Samurai Jack basically follows a man who we don't know his name. We follow him from when he's a very young child in the beginning episode. Some kind of demonic entity, asteroid thing, comes to Earth from space. I guess he's technically an alien. But his name is Aku. He's got a black body, a green face, kind of like those old samurai masks that people used to wear in Japan. And he's got red flaming eyebrows, and he lives basically in hell, but he has like a tower, but he has like a kind of a center of the earth kind of thing going on. And he basically destroys everything. He tries to kill Jack's dad, and he does. Kills pretty much Jack's entire village. And he is sent off to train all over the world, while Aku destroys everything and becomes basically the emperor of the whole planet in a very Palpatine way. But eventually, Jack receives the sword that his dad had made all those years ago, and he goes on a quest to kill Aku, and when he tries to and almost succeeds at it in the first or two... Is it the first episode or the second episode? It's one of those. It may be the first episode. When he tries to kill Aku with his sword, he gets sent into the future, which is where he gets the name Samurai Jack. People just start calling him Jack. Some weirdos on the side of the road do. And again, we never find out his real name, as far as I know. By the end of the show, as far as I can remember, he's just called Samurai Jack all the time. And he begins to build a reputation all over the planet, even in that future, where he's trying to find a portal to come back in time to his days, so that he can kill Aku, or at least try to kill him along the way. But he basically just wants to go home. But kind of like every show out there and every cartoon, everything is episodic. While he's going on this pulpy, sort of cyberpunk futuristic thing, this journey, he also happens to help people along the way with their own trials, their own tribulations. He has his own little issues he runs into, and man, I'm telling you, there were so many iconic villains for this show. Every episode seemed to have, especially in the first 2 seasons. I don't think I saw a ton of season 3 when it was coming out, and I don't think I saw any of season 4, because that was a rough season, man. It wasn't bad, But it was bad in the totality of the show, even compared to season 5, which I don't really know the general consensus about season 5, but we'll get there when we get there in a very spoiler-free way, in case you guys are worried about that. But the show's villains that it would have, man, were just so cool. You had this one guy that's like, he looks like a demon vampire with blue flames in and outside of his head. He's so cool looking. You had this one guy called Da Samurai. I think he's in season 3 or 4. Who's basically just kind of like when you had Blackula and like different, black versions of famous characters in like the 40s and the 50s and 60s and 70s too. You had one of that guy that was like a black samurai, and he was actually goofy and over the top. He was supposed to be like the guy from the Can't Touch This, song from back in the day. You had the basket robots, and pretty much all the villains, by the way, are robots in this show because there's so much dismemberment and destruction where Jack is using a sword. He has to cut things in half and cut things arms and legs and heads off and stuff. The only way to get away with that back on Cartoon Network's old days, and even now, I guess, to an extent, if anybody's even watching Cartoon Network anymore, were that they had to be robots to have all that destruction there. And it's insane, fun, crazy over-the-top fighting. Makes it so much fun, man. Robot or not, it doesn't matter. It's super cool with that. And you have a lot of episodes in here, too, about Jack just trying to free slaves or, free an animal that might turn out to be a slave. And really, because they may actually have the ability to talk and think, and they might not just be some kind of animal. Their looks are deceiving, if you will. There's so many good episodes in here, man. So many great, iconic episodes. Like the one that I think didn't even really have any talking in it. There's a couple of those that are like that. They may have 1 or 2 lines by the end of the episode. But the one I'm referring to, I think is in season 3, and it involves Jack going to basically a big techno party out in the middle of nowhere. And they know who he is, and he has to like fight off people in the crowd while he went under disguise with like a binky in his mouth and a really tall Dr. Seuss Cat in the hat. Just so many wild choices, so many wild things they chose to do with this show just made it so creative and fun, man. But yeah, the fights are fantastic. Jack himself is played by Phil Lamar, who's been in a bunch of things, man. I love Phil Lamar. He's a great actor. He's kind of one of those guys to me that I grew up with and never really knew his name. Kind of like Greg Eagles, who played Grim on Billy and Mandy. He's just amazing in the show. He brings such a... And this is a little bit of writing and a little bit of his performance too, especially. Bringing to life a character, Jack in this case, who's really humble and really lovable, who just loves everyone and everything, but he's not afraid to be a warrior and defend for the sake of the good, I guess you could say. I just love Jack as a character. He's one of the best Cartoon Network characters ever. Samurai Jack is kind of like America dipping its toes into its own version of anime. It's kind of like, if I had to bet, Cartoon Network probably saw how popular Dragon Ball Z was because of them, or Yu Yu Hakusho at nighttime from Adult Swim was because of them and their channel, and a lot of other shows too, like Ronin Warriors and whatnot. And they probably said, let's have a guy sit down and make an American anime. That's what this show feels like. But the thing is, again, by the time season 4 came around, they began to have some really kind of shittier episodes, man. There was a 2-parter episode in there that I just did not like at all. And it kind of didn't really even focus on Jack in season 4. That particular 2-parter I'm talking about, it really involved this Scotsman character that I really like in the show. I had forgotten the episode where they first meet, by the way, where they're on a swinging bridge and they have to kind of fight because they can't get along. That was really fun. But there was a 2-parter involving the Scotsman character that I like him, but I did not like that 2-parter in season 4. It drug, man. It took everything in me not to skip over it and just keep on going. But even like, I think it was the finale of season 4, which would have been the final episode because season 5 never came out until, again, like 14 years later, we finally got season 5 on Adult Swim, not even Cartoon Network. I think the finale of season 4 involved like a baby or something. oh, it was awful, man. It was one of the worst episodes of the show of Jack trying to find this baby's mom. And that baby cried through the entire fucking episode, dude. Oh my lord, it was grating, dude. And I don't know, it was just brutal. I hated that episode. I get why it was there. I get that it was another episode to show how loving and sweet Jack is. But dude, when every season of the show has 13 episodes until the final season has 10 episodes to finalize the show, yeah, I was not down for it. Season 4 was literally, it only had probably technically 3 or 4 episodes in it I didn't like. The overall season is kind of weak, even if it's a mixed bag. With those bad episodes, most of the episodes are fine, but just kind of weak. Season 1 through 3 are phenomenal. They're still the best part of the show by the finale of it. Season 5, coming back in so many years later, I'm a little surprised they just wanted to make one final season to end this American anime all those years later. The art style is mostly similar. They barely use any kind of CGI animation mixed in with this stuff, which was really nice. I'm really thankful for that. Maybe in the more hard to animate, I suspect, areas is when they did that, which is cool. I'm fine, whatever. It didn't completely divide itself from what Samurai Jack always looked like in its style and whatnot, which is cool to me. But Season 5 also introduces a character that I had seen in like promo clips and shots and stuff online over the years. And I had finally said, okay, I'm a little worried about what they're going to do with this. It was a female chick. She kind of looked like she was dressed in like a James Bond female spy outfit. It's just like a black latex, you know? And I was a little nervous about that. But I gotta say, I actually ended up liking this character and what they did with her, despite her being kind of generic. She's an assassin named Ashi, something like that, who has a little bit of a backstory of being raised, kind of like Black Widow from the MCU, and from comics at Marvel anyway, of being raised as an assassin, basically, in a cult that worships Aku. And she was considered the weakest of the cult because she loved the beauty of nature outside. Even while she was being trained, she would, go hide in corners and look at cracks in the wall to see all the beautiful nature outside that still somehow was around, even though Aku destroyed pretty much everything. But it's also picking up, and I thought this was a weird choice. Season 5 takes place 50 years after Season 4. And I guess 1 through 4, technically. 50 years later, so Jack has been trapped in this futuristic area for 50 years. But he hasn't aged, is what he starts off the season saying. He hasn't aged at all. And the excuse for that is because somehow there's some kind of magic issue that happened with the with the time travel stuff, and Jack didn't know it. But for 50 years, he's been trying to find another portal to get home, and supposedly the last one was destroyed by Aku right in front of Jack. So he's been trapped. And he's kind of just given up, man. Most of this season, up till like the last 3 or 4 episodes of the season, he's not even dressed up like Jack. He looks like a homeless man. He has a long black beard. His hair is just flowing. It's not even pinned up or anything. But he encounters Ashi and many other characters from many of the best episodes of the show and some of the weaker episodes of the show. He sees different characters come back by the end of the season to help him out the way he helped them out. And I thought that was really nice. But if we're doing the whole 50 years later thing, and Jack isn't aging at all, then why does he need to eat? Why does he need to drink water? Why does he need to go to the bathroom? You know what I mean? Like, why does he have to do anything like that? It's kind of weird. I don't really like the 50 years later choice, my personal opinion. It's kind of a weird excuse to have Ashi even be in the show, who, by the way, is played by Tara Strong, which is cool. You know, Bubbles from Powerpuff Girls. And she's great. I thought it was Grey Griffin. I really did. I thought it was her, but it was not. It's Tara Strong playing Ashi, which was kind of surprising. She was really good here. Ashi grew on me by the end of the season. I liked what they did with her. But I still feel like Season 5 is just a little bit better than Season 4. It's a good finale. Don't get me wrong. It's a good finale. It was better than Season 4 for sure. I'm glad we got this. I'm glad Adult Swim did it, matter of fact, because we actually got blood in the season. Yeah, they got away from robots and stuff. The violence and stuff has blood. If Jack gets stabbed, for example, he gets stabbed in the chest, or in the stomach, I guess, at one point, and he's gushing blood everywhere. It makes the season a little bit more deadly. It makes the stakes a little bit higher that Jack can get hurt as easily, even though he's not an old man. But there's other characters that he'll fight. Like, it's not just bugs and shit. Like, he might slit somebody's throat and there's blood in the season. They don't do a ton with that, but they do enough that I was kind of surprised. It kind of felt weird, but the show even makes a point to talk about how, wow, you've never killed a human being before, you know, and I thought that was kind of nice that they even addressed that difference between this and the first 4 seasons. It also sucks because the guy who played Aku, who was fantastic in those first 4 seasons, he actually passed away, so they had to get a replacement, and, like, the voice doesn't really sound like Aku until later in the season 5, you know? Like, he kind of goes from, like, Aku the Japanese demon monster to, like, Aku the Mexican monster. That's what he sounds like. It's like a total different accent, but, like, the voice sounds the same if it did a different accent. You know what I mean? Anyway, Samurai Jack, really cool show. I love the kind of blend of samurai hip-hop music, too, for the, like, the intro song and, like, the end credits song and all of that. The show's style, the show's art style in general, the creativity behind this show. Yeah, it was mostly episodic, but it had this really cool way of doing something pulpy and refreshing and adventurous every single episode until season 4. It really did. And like I said, the adventure aspect of it was still really nice in season 5. It's just not a perfect show by any means, but what show is? You know what I mean? This is probably the most... I guess I could say the most continuously good show, except for season 4 being kind of rough sometimes. Sometimes. But outside of that, I really love Samurai Jack. I'm so glad that Cartoon Network, I guess this is an Adult Swim release more so, but I'm really glad that Cartoon Network in general and Warner Brothers has made it a point to start releasing a bunch of their shows and cartoons from the 90s and the 2000s on DVD and Blu-ray. You have this, you had Powerpuff Girls last year. My wife got me that for my birthday or Christmas or something. You know, you have Dexter's Laboratory that finally got a full set. Ed, and Eddie is almost complete, but it's not. But it is a set. Regular Show just came out. I bought that, you know. I'm glad that they did that. I thought it was smart. I think it was a good idea because people like me, dude, I will buy every single set that you put out, and it seems like they've been selling fairly well. Even the shittier shows that I grew up on that I didn't realize were shitty until I got older, like Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. But when are we getting a Billy and Mandy set? I need that. I need a real official set so I can get rid of my bootleg set. But anyway, that's pretty much my thoughts on Samurai Jack. I love the show. I think it is so damn good. If you're a person who never saw this show, but you've heard it by reputation, but you've been curious, but you haven't tried it out, I'm telling you, dude, between the style of it, the art style, the action, the fighting, the scenes, all of that stuff, the adventure aspect of it, check it out, man. Samurai Jack is such a killer-ass show. And it's so forgotten, and that's the saddest thing about it, man. It's so freaking good, especially in those first 3 seasons, and by the end of it, man, it's really good, except for, like, the final 5 minutes of the show. I thought that was some horse shit. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, what do you think about Samurai Jack? If you're like me and you grew up on it, were you glad that they brought it back and concluded it? I was kind of happy with that when I get to the end of season 4. I would have been pissed if they had a quote-unquote complete series, but we never had season 5, because season 4's finale was terrible, man. I think it's why they came back and made this. But yeah, check it out, let me know. I guess another example of American anime would be Avatar: The Last Airbender. I saw that at Walmart for like $15, the whole series. I've really thought about buying that, because people I grew up with loved Avatar. I've barely seen that show. Maybe it's better, like when you actually sit down and watch it from beginning to end. But I saw a bunch of it when I was a kid, and I never was crazy about that. I think Samurai Jack is better, to me. But again, it's more of a pulpy adventure with less continuity focus for Samurai Jack. So that might be a plus for you, that might be a minus for you compared to Avatar The Last Airbender or whatever from Nickelodeon. But anyway, which one do you think is better? Let me know that too. If you have any other American anime type things, let me know about that down in the comments. I'd love to, discuss that, see what you guys think, what you recommend. Anyway, thank you all for watching, guys. God bless you all. Catch you later, and goodbye.